Okay, welcome to Real Estate Investor Talk Show, where we dive deep in with the leaders shaping the property landscape. I'm your host, Neale Petersen, and today we're thrilled to welcome Debbie Tagg, who's the chairperson of the annual Reside Summit, who are also co-hosts alongside REI with the third annual Reside Awards that recognizes innovation and leaders in the South African real estate, residential, and technology sectors. Debbie, welcome to the show. Great to have you. Do you want to give the audience a little bit of background on yourself, your company, and more specifically on the annual Reside Summit? And we'll get into detail on the awards as well.
Thank you, Neale. I've had the privilege to be involved in this industry for the last 3 years. So compared to stalwarts like yourself, still feel very new. However, it's been an amazing journey because when we were brought in to help the sector, it was around creating engagement and collaboration. And I know we're going to talk to the summit and we're going to talk to the awards. Just after having launched in the 3 years ago, I'm trying to do the maths, 2020.
Yes, that's right.
It just to see the response about an industry that was dying and thirsting for collaboration. We're never going to solve all the issues in just an event, so there's a lot of exciting things that have spun out of that. However, it's been really good also just to start to understand the nuances, and I think in particular, I know we're going to talk to it a little later, but in particular where we, from our experience, have a lot of engagement with government and public sector, and I think that's where a lot of frustration lies in this industry as well. And just key pillars that will typically move a growing opportunity. I think we've got challenges within housing and we've got opportunities, and Reside constantly tries to talk to both. Also my current role, I'm acting as CEO of Sahara, which is the Housing Alliance. You haven't seen anything too official. We did launch that last year, but that's also really exciting. And that really is actually just to support as an umbrella body for all these numerous associations and bodies that are not trying, really are trying, I suppose, but some are really big, some are really small. But how do we get one voice together when there are certain issues around capacity building and lobbying, etc.? So yeah, looking forward to our chat.
Absolutely. So Debbie, as the chairperson of the Reside Summit, I mean, where the focus areas this year, and maybe tell us some of the exciting developments or trends currently shaping South Africa's residential property market, because I assume obviously at the Reside Summit, you want to cover those key areas.
Yeah, so I don't let the cat out the bag. You can hop onto the website. The program has been released with a number of our keynote speakers. Reside will always maintain its focus on very high level right down to the practicalities. So, I mean, obviously, things like the interest rate has been a positive move for industry. We know there is still an absolute housing gap and shortage, so that hasn't been solved in the last 12 months. So as long as that remains, the pressure on creativity and public-private partnerships and working with government around infrastructure is still very, very important. So I think that maintains that will maintain as a key focus. We will talk to technology and how that is driving and hopefully can leapfrog certain of the challenges. I actually attended a very interesting international presentation where the presenter spoke about us being in our fourth industrial revolution, and the two key resources was AI and energy. And if we think about just seeing how prop tech has become so important within housing, which is very bricks and mortar, but at the same time, it's you've got your AI and you've got your energy, housing sits in the middle. So I think we'll also be looking at it from that perspective. So lots to look at. We're working with all the industry bodies, whether it's multifamily or these student accommodation associations. They all have a pivotal role in the event. And a key highlight, which I'm very excited that will be happening, is also our VIP investors focus and breakfast that we're partnering with some of the support organizations. And I think it's important for us to really investigate and to continue putting housing as an investment asset class as well.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so if you look at the awards, in particular, I mean, the Reside Awards is now in the third year, and it aims to celebrate excellence, innovation. I mean, that's exactly why REI decided to partner up with Reside on these awards. How do you think these awards contribute to raising the standard of the South African residential property industry?
You know, Neale, when we launched it, I've never seen an awards within, I know you said 3 years, it was actually a soft launch in year one. So last year was
Yes.
really the first robust where we take on a full awards process from adjudication to judges to criteria, which I'll talk to just now. But to see not just private sector entering, also to see public sector, you know, where you've got these various metro organizations entering on successful projects, and also to see where partnerships could be, the accolades could be shared. I think it gives people that sense of hope. It sends a much more positive message. It again reinforces collaboration, and I think also it goes to show that we have a great standard within our own country. As you will also see, we're hoping to probably expand those awards. It doesn't just have to be within South Africa. Southern Africa is also there. But our challenge remains to make sure that all the big projects are entering the awards. But for the first time, and if anyone's ever done awards, I think last year we had 13 categories. And as a first run, we had entries in every single category and good winners in every category. So, yeah, I think that's really something impressive to talk about for the industry.
No, wonderful. So let's talk us through a little bit of first of all, the new award categories and, you know, what makes them so important for recognizing excellence. And maybe you could also touch on some of the existing ones. I mean,
100%. So obviously, you know, we will always focus on our essential not silos or pillars, you know, multifamily, student accommodation, social, affordable housing, retirement, living. We have done some work in the next iteration with the judges. The judges have been amazing in their feedback, and these are all individuals that themselves are either property practitioners, they've got their hands dirty in a good way, not in a good way.
They're in the industry.
The feedback has been fantastic. We have launched, we have added so almost 16 different categories now for our SIMs. I think what is interesting is we've added community schemes of the year, property practitioner of the year, and including also an SME of the year. That's something that we're very passionate about, is transformation and small business. I can't let it out officially, but it is with one of the big industry bodies, those particular categories. So when it's official, you'll know, but the categories are live and they're there. We also have expanded to see how we can accommodate looking at residential estate agency of the year and expanded on the property practitioner of the year. I think an exciting category last year was the PropTech category. So I'm very interested to see, you know, what leading edge technologies will be entering as well. And I think very important as well is that coming from feedback from the judges, and also actually just with what is the right thing to do, we've also made sure that sustainability underpins all of the categories. And we're also pleased to announce that the IFC has joined in as one of the adjudicators and judges from their edge and their international green perspective. So I think whatever happens, that kind of talks to the fact that the awards will always also be sending a message to industry. So if we're going to look at developments, what does the development do in terms of sustainability? So the winners have to be, you know, achieving across all of those criteria.
Wonderful. And it's, you know, it's such a nice thing to see the residential industry getting recognized, because everything has been focused on, you know, commercial, you know, the big guys. And so it really is fantastic to see. So PropTech, I mean, we're seeing it's playing, you know, an increasingly significant role in the industry. And so what do you believe some of the most exciting advancements in PropTech that are shaping the future? I know you touched on it earlier on, but maybe you just want to elaborate just on some of the points, because it is a category now within obviously the sector as well.
Yes, it is. And obviously from a conference perspective, we will be inviting many of those platforms to showcase. And if any of them are listening, we definitely want them to exhibit. I'll also talk to what's very exciting about the exhibition this year. I think the industry will be pleased to know about that access. So I would say we probably didn't even get to all the technologies even in last year's event. And I think there's a lot of onboarding, even international technologies. AI continues to be an underpinning of that. But I think it's going to be more about how we as people, as consumers, interact with that AI and where does it create efficiencies, but then opens up markets. So that will definitely be one of the focus areas. And I know, I mean, actually, Neale should be answering this because I think he might be chairing that very panel. And again, I think
Absolutely.
you're only 3 years in. But then, for those of you who know, we actually ended last year's 5-day event with PropTech, and I thought, sure, everyone's going to be ready to go home on a Friday afternoon, and it was a phenomenal day. So it just shows you it's very interesting and very relevant.
Absolutely. Okay, so you did touch on it already, the collaboration between government, developers, municipalities, evolving to address South Africa's housing shortage. But how do you see that collaboration happening at the Reside Summit this year?
In a very practical way, we have a partnership with SALGAS, the local government association, and they obviously then filter down to the various municipalities. That being said, we also engage all the different metros we have invited. So, if it all comes to fruition, we've already got some good interest. We are inviting the regions to come and showcase what investable opportunities are in their region or metro. So be it like a Durban Invest or a City of Joburg. And then by virtue of that, it also involves stakeholders that are sitting within those metros. And I think what we saw was really a powerful impact of last year was the fact that there were so many developers, private sector, that could literally go and talk to someone at the City of Joburg, etc. So all being well, that will always be a very big strategic focus of Reside. And sometimes it's just not knowing who to talk to and getting a very open communication. You'll actually see we have a wonderful quote by the councillor, one of the seniors at Salga, to say, this is such an important platform. So I'm glad that they're seeing the importance of working close with the private sector.
Well, that's fantastic to start that initiation of that platform, because I think it really is very important to pull that, especially the municipalities and them together. That's where it's needed most. So let's go back to the awards, and I've got to declare myself, obviously, I'm the chair also of the Reside Awards. Thank you, Debbie.
So you couldn't say no.
so it's a bit of a cheap question. I couldn't. So in terms of this question, as I say, it's a bit of, I'm asking you probably a rhetorical question. How do you and the judging panel ensure that the winners truly reflect the leaders and innovators within the residential and PropTech sectors?
I think that's a very important question, Neale, because sometimes you think someone won an award because they're the only one that A, entered.
Yes.
Or B, they
Absolutely.
paid enough money to be or support the event, and that is not it at all. So one of the first steps we actually do is we say to the judges, in these various categories, please highlight for the committee who you think the projects that should be entering. Now, obviously, there's a process, so they still have to enter, but we actually go very manually and look at these projects and contact and say, please make sure you're entering. We know that you're doing great work, etc. So that is a fundamental process. We also, of course, invite entries through all of our partners. So if you hop onto the Reside Summit website, you'll see that most of the industry bodies are affiliates to Reside, and we invite them to send to their members and to make sure that they enter. Also to talk to the entry process, which is very important. So there's criteria for, most of the entries have up to 5 or 6 criteria. We're very clear around the supporting documentation, and the judges go through a scoring process. Then you go through review panel. Also, the scoring and the rating will then also determine whether you are a platinum, a gold, or a diamond. I'm trying to think which of the order it is, which is based on, is it a 90%, an 80%, a 70%? So also, no entry can win in a category if it is the only one. It still has to achieve certain high levels of standard. What we've also done this year, as I said, we had almost 20 judges last year, and I think we almost 25 this year, but we've managed to also target certain judges that we wanted to come in also to verify, ones that maybe have broader experience. I mentioned earlier around the sustainability. So we also from a committee point of view, and thank you as chair leading that, Neale, just made sure that the judging panel, when they're looking at these entries, really you can trust their judgment, excuse the pun.
No, absolutely. And I mean, just being part of that process last year, it was a rigorous process. I know it was a tough process, pulling everybody to meet the deadlines, but they eventually did. And so I feel with you as you actually discuss that process with the audience here today. So let's just talk a little bit about, how do you think events like Reside Summit, I mean, and of course the award ceremony, which I think last year was a fantastic success, really was a glamorous event. And I must commend you, because it's Reside Summit, that's obviously the event company, which was really, really well hosted. And obviously I encourage the audience out there, you must attend, you must enter, as wearing my hat as the awards chair. But in your mind, Debbie, how does that help facilitate education and knowledge sharing across the industry?
Well, I think something we know is this industry is very fragmented. And I think also it's very broad. You can go down to an individual property developer to the big developers. And then, in that ecosystem, you've got all your manufacturers and your suppliers. So again, I think you were going to ask this a bit later, but I'm going to answer it now.
Yes.
I think the vision of Reside is that we can serve the entire ecosystem through the summit on an annual basis. Obviously, there'll be things throughout the year, but we're only 3 years in, so resource is what it is for now. So I think we're really excited. If I even just look into this year, you talk about education, you talk about collaboration, you assume that these things are happening, but it is in a very disjointed way and sometimes in a very frustrating way. So, to have seen actually ones attend last year and deals, innovation come out of it, then we know that it's working. So one of the key areas for this year, which I was very excited to announce, is that we know that there's a very high level strategic element to the event. We talk about investors, we talk about big developers, but we also wanted to accommodate the rest of the ecosystem. So we're pleased to announce that we have opened up day 2 exhibition to visitors. So the first 2 years didn't have visitors, but we're really excited that now the event, come if you want, it's not a problem, come and engage, and we will actually have certain on-floor content as well. So don't want to let the cat out the bag on that, but I think one of the areas that we've seen a gap is also just education around what those innovative products are from the manufacturers, and when you're looking at retrofitting, etc. So we saw an opportunity as well last year to have more time on the floor for those who want to come. They can take an hour or 2 out. Not everyone can do 2 full days of the conference. So there's literally something for everybody at the event, which is really exciting.
Absolutely. So let's do a little bit of a call out there. I mean, for those that are interested in entering the Reside Awards, can you maybe walk us through the process? Is there a fee to enter? Yeah. Where can the participants register? Do you want to take us through that process? Thanks.
Sure. Debbie? So the website is residesummit.co.za or Reside Conference. We've just switched over. You'll go there. All information is detailed around the awards, but essentially, yes, there is a fee. For every entry, there is a fee paid. However, the good news is that also covers your gala dinner ticket, whether you win or finalist or not. So that also invites you to the party with us. And it is a fantastic evening, as Neale said. So that is the entry process. If you have multiple entries, we also have a multiple entry package. It is listed on the website. Once you've paid the fee, you don't have to wait for that. You can also go to the entry form, but obviously if you've entered and we don't have the fee, we'll come and ask you. And the entry form is pretty clear. If you want, you can sort of navigate it, download it, and absorb it while you're doing the entry. We've tried to make it very structured so that it's very clear as to which section you're answering. If you have any questions, there are contact details on the website. If you're not sure, where does your development fit? What is the criteria for the years and the project timeline? No problem. Just pop us an email and we'll help you. But
wonderful.
What you need to know is that it's closing on the 2nd of May. So in
2nd of May.
yeah, so that's
2nd of
not a
May.
lot
So
of time. You need to start working on it now. Please ask us any questions now. We want to make sure that all the relevant projects are being showcased for this year's awards.
wonderful. I think it's a good idea to send out a nice 2nd of May, guys, 2nd of May, because it's just around the corner. It's not far away. So guys, get those entries in. Debbie Tagg, Chairperson of the Reside Awards, been a pleasure chatting with you about this really exciting initiative. I mean, I've been involved right from the start, really exciting. Thank you for your time and your invaluable insights. And we're all looking forward to seeing how the awards unfold and of course, the incredible talent it will highlight as well.
100%. And thank you for the support to REI and just serving as chair, as you do with your passion, Neale. And I think it's going to be an amazing year of projects and development. So looking forward to
Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you very mumuch for Debbie. I'm Neale Petersen from REI. Until next time, keep investing wisely. Thanks, Debbie. Bye.